The Galactic Council chambers gleamed with an artificial perfection that Dr. Lyra Winters had always found unsettling. Standing before the towering crystalline podium, Earth's most accomplished diplomat maintained her composure as 57 alien species watched her with cold calculation. She had spent 15 years building bridges between humanity and the galactic community, but today something felt different. The air crackled with unspoken tension. Distinguished members of the Council, Lyra's voice carried across the vast chamber, Earth has fulfilled every requirement for full membership. We've shared our medical advances, contributed to your clean energy initiatives, and demonstrated our commitment to peaceful cooperation. We ask only for equal representation. High Counselor Vexther, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate mechanical shell, raised what passed for a hand. The gesture silenced the chamber. Dr. Winters, your species speaks of peace while harboring military capabilities beyond your declared arsenal. Our sensors have detected quantum signatures consistent with weapons development in your outer solar system. Lyra's heart raced, but her face remained neutral. The Project Oracle facilities were supposed to be undetectable. High Counselor, I assure you. We have seen the simulations, interrupted Delegate Zorax, their crystalline form pulsing with aggressive red light. Should humanity gain full council membership, there is a 73% probability that they will achieve technological dominance within 2 centuries. Projections can be flawed, Lyra countered, fighting to keep her voice steady. Humanity seeks partnership, not dominance. We've proven this through our actions. The chamber erupted in overlapping alien languages as council members argued among themselves. Lyra noticed security drones moving into position around the chamber's perimeter. Something was very wrong. High Counselor Vexther's voice cut through the chaos. The council has already voted, Dr. Winters. Humanity's petition for membership is denied. Furthermore, you are found guilty of attempting to manipulate council proceedings through unauthorized emotional influence. What? Lyra stepped back, genuine shock breaking through her diplomatic mask. That's absurd. I've only ever spoken the truth. The truth, delivered with human emotional resonance, has been deemed a form of psychological warfare. Vexther's mechanical voice was eerily calm. The Council cannot risk allowing such a volatile species further influence in galactic affairs. Lyra saw the security drone's weapons charging. In that moment, she understood everything. They had never intended to accept humanity as equals. The Council feared what humans might become, and fear had led them to this betrayal. She straightened her spine, facing Vexther directly. If you do this, you won't be containing a threat. You'll be creating one. Humanity's potential for violence is matched only by our capacity for forgiveness. Kill me and you lose any chance at the latter. Your species' duality is precisely why this must be done, Vexther replied. The sentence is execution, effective immediately. Lyra's final message was broadcast across all frequencies, reaching Earth despite the Council's attempts to block it. Remember who we could have been together. Remember who they chose to make us instead. The energy pulse struck her squarely in the chest, reducing Earth's greatest diplomat to atoms before the assembled council. The chamber fell silent, but the silence wouldn't last. On Earth, the response was immediate and devastating. President Octavia Chen's address to the United Earth Congress was brief. For 15 years, we extended our hands in friendship. Today, the Galactic Council chose to burn those hands. So be it. Let the galaxy remember this as the day they taught humanity the true meaning of war. Within hours, classified military installations across the solar system went dark. The facade of Earth's limited military capability evaporated as hidden fleets emerged from quantum shadows. Project Oracle, the very program the Council feared, was activated ahead of schedule. Commander Marcus Vale, who had lost his wife Lyra to the Council's paranoia, stood aboard the bridge of Earth's first Vengeance-class destroyer. His orders were simple: show the Council exactly what humanity had been holding back. All ships, this is Vale, his voice carried to hundreds of vessels emerging from hidden shipyards throughout the solar system. The Council thought they were preventing a possible future where humanity became too powerful. Instead, they've guaranteed it. Execute Operation Nightfall, show them no mercy. As Earth's hidden armada prepared for war, the quantum AI cores of Project Oracle calculated the future with perfect clarity. The Council's decision to execute Dr. Lyra Winters would be recorded in history as their final mistake. Humanity's age of diplomacy had ended. The era of retribution was about to begin. The stars themselves seemed to dim as Earth's fleet engaged their quantum drives, leaving the solar system not as the peaceful species they had pretended to be, but as the warriors they had always been capable of becoming. The Council had killed their envoy of peace. Now they would meet humanity's envoys of war. The quantum storms of the Andromeda Rift churned with violent energy as Commander Marcus Vale's fleet emerged from their quantum tunnels. His flagship, the Nemesis, dropped its stealth field just long enough to receive confirmation signals from the other 12 vessels. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering that the Council had never known existed: sleek obsidian hulls that absorbed both light and sensor readings, quantum core engines that left no thermal signature, and weapons that could tear reality itself. "Status report," Vale commanded, his voice steady despite the grief that still burned in his chest. The holographic display showed the Council's most vital military installation, the Nexus Hub, a massive space station that coordinated their entire defense network. Lieutenant Raven Joe, his tactical officer, responded immediately. "Stealth systems at maximum efficiency, sir. The Council's sensors are still calibrated to their outdated data on human technology. They can't see us." "Good." Vale studied the station's rotating rings, each one housing different alien species defense protocols. "Begin Phase 1, let's show them what humanity's been hiding." The Nemesis's quantum AI, designation Oracle 7, projected a detailed analysis of the station's weaknesses. Vale couldn't help but appreciate the irony: the very technology that had made the Council fear humanity would now be their undoing. "Sir," Communications Officer James Sullivan called out, "we're intercepting internal communications. They're celebrating the containment of the human threat. He hesitated, they're toasting to Dr. Winters's death." Vale's fingers dug into his command chair's armrests. "Record everything. The galaxy needs to witness their arrogance before their fall. Deploy the quantum ghosts." From the Nemesis's launch bays, hundreds of small, autonomous drones emerged. These were humanity's greatest technological achievement: artificial intelligence merged with quantum computing, capable of predicting and countering any defense system. The Council had feared theoretical human dominance in 2 centuries. They were about to learn that their timeline was off by exactly 199 years. The quantum ghosts swarmed toward the Nexus Hub, their crystalline forms refracting the light of nearby stars. As they approached the station's first defense ring, they didn't try to break through, they simply phased through the shields as if they didn't exist. Impossible. The panic in the Council's communications was palpable. "Their technology can't be this advanced," the simulations showed. "The simulations showed what we wanted them to show," Vale transmitted on all frequencies. "Consider this humanity's response to your act of war." The quantum ghosts reached the station's core, interfacing with its systems. Within seconds, the most sophisticated defense network in the galaxy began to turn against itself. Shield generators overloaded. Weapon systems targeted their own power cores. Communication arrays broadcast their classified protocols across open channels. "Sir," Raven reported, "we're detecting Council warships emerging from quantum space. 3 dreadnoughts class Stellar Devastator." Vale smiled grimly. "Right on schedule. Oracle 7, initiate Protocol Prometheus." The AI's response was immediate. The Nemesis's quantum core pulsed, sending waves of structured energy across space. As the Council dreadnoughts prepared to fire, their weapons suddenly went dark. Their engines sputtered and died. The mighty vessels of the galaxy's most powerful civilization hung in space like dead metal. "A gift from my wife," Vale transmitted to the helpless ships. "She always said knowledge was the key to peace. So we learned everything about you while pretending to be simple diplomatic partners. Every weakness, every flaw in your technology, every secret you thought was safe." The Nexus Hub systems continued to cascade into failure. Emergency broadcasts from the station filled the command deck. "This is Nexus Control. Our quantum shields are inverting. Engineering to command, the AI cores are being rewritten. Security protocols failing, something is in our systems. How are they doing this? They're supposed to be centuries behind us." Vale opened a channel to all his ships. "Commence Phase 2, show them what happens when you mistake patience for weakness." The human fleet decloaked in perfect synchronization. Their black hulls absorbed the starlight, making them look like holes in reality itself. The Council had never seen ships like these, because humanity had developed them in secret while presenting outdated technology in diplomatic exchanges.
"Launch quantum torpedoes," Vale ordered. "Target their shield generators and weapon systems only. Today we demonstrate power, not cruelty." The torpedoes streaked across space, their warheads containing compressed quantum singularities. When they detonated, they didn't destroy their targets, they rewrote the laws of physics around them. Shield generators imploded into quantum fluctuations. Weapon arrays dissolved into their component atoms. Within 20 minutes, the Nexus hub, pride of the Galactic Council's military might, was completely neutralized. No lives were lost, but the message was clear: humanity could have destroyed them at any time. Vale opened a final transmission to the station. "This is Commander Marcus Vale of the Earth Fleet. Your defense network is now under our control. Your military capabilities have been neutralized. But unlike you, we don't execute the defenseless. Instead, you're going to deliver a message." He paused, letting the fear sink in before continuing. "The Council killed my wife because they feared what humanity might become. Tell them that their fear was justified. Tell them that every nightmare they had about human potential is about to come true. And tell them this is only the beginning." As the Nemesis prepared to return to quantum space, Vale received a private message from Oracle 7, Commander, analyzing Council communication patterns. "Their species are beginning to fracture. Fear of humanity is causing political instability. Prediction models show their alliance will begin to collapse within days." "Good," Vale replied, looking at the holographic image of Lyra he kept at his command station. "They thought killing you would contain us, my love. Instead, they've unleashed everything they feared. May whatever gods they worship have mercy on them, because humanity no longer will." The human fleet vanished into quantum space, leaving behind a devastated station, powerless warships, and a message that would echo across the galaxy: humanity was done playing by the Council's rules. Operation Nightfall was complete, but the true war was just beginning. Captain Diana Phoenix stood at the viewport of the stealth cruiser Mindweaver, watching the crystalline spires of Centauri Prime glitter in the light of its 3 suns. The planet was home to the Centaurians, the Council's most sophisticated telepathic species and their primary means of maintaining control over dissenting worlds. Today, that was about to change. "Neural transmitters ready, Captain," reported Dr. Victor Ramon, the ship's chief psychologist and quantum consciousness expert. "Project Echo is primed for deployment." Diana turned from the viewport, her augmented eyes glowing with a subtle blue light. After the Council's betrayal, she had volunteered to be the first recipient of the quantum consciousness implants, technology that allowed her to project human emotional experiences directly into alien minds. "Begin the broadcast," she ordered. "Let them feel exactly what we felt." The Mindweaver's quantum arrays activated, sending invisible waves of consciousness across the planet's surface. In an instant, millions of Centaurians experienced Dr. Lyra Winters's final moments, her hope, her betrayal, her death. But Diana didn't stop there. She showed them everything: centuries of human struggle, survival against impossible odds, the constant fight to prove themselves worthy of the stars. "Planetary communications are exploding," Lieutenant Jade Chen reported from her station. "The Centaurians, they're experiencing an emotional cascade. Their hive mind is fracturing." Diana nodded grimly. "Now they understand. The Council didn't just kill our ambassador, they killed the part of us that believed in their version of civilization. Show them Phase 2. The quantum broadcast shifted, revealing classified Council records that human intelligence had gathered over years of patient observation. Evidence of systematic suppression of developing species. Secret genetic engineering programs designed to maintain Council superiority. Proof that Earth wasn't the first world they had betrayed. "Captain," Jade's voice was urgent, "we're detecting massive protests in the capital city. The Centaurian elders are calling for an emergency session. And, something else. Their quantum defense grid is powering down." "They're making their choice," Diana observed. "Dr. Ramon, prepare the Unity Protocol." Victor's dark eyes widened. "Captain, that's untested technology. The neural load could dash." "The Council thought they could break humanity's spirit," Diana interrupted. "Instead, they're about to learn that we're willing to risk everything to show the galaxy the truth." She stepped onto the ship's quantum transmission platform, her augments glowing brighter. The Unity Protocol was humanity's most ambitious creation, a way to share not just memories or emotions, but entire consciousness structures across species barriers. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1. Diana's consciousness exploded across the quantum network, touching every Centaurian mind simultaneously. She showed them not just human suffering, but human triumph. Not just their capacity for violence, but their potential for forgiveness. Not just their fear of extinction, but their dreams of coexistence. The effect was instantaneous. Across Centauri Prime, millions of telepathic beings experienced something they had never known possible, true empathy with a species the Council had labeled as dangerous. They felt the depth of human emotion, the complexity of human thought, the power of human resilience. Captain, Jade's voice seemed distant as Diana maintained the connection. The Centaurian elders are broadcasting on all frequencies. They're denouncing the Council. They're calling for all telepathic species to sever their political ties. Diana pushed harder, channeling more of humanity's essence through the quantum network. Show them what partnership truly means. Show them what the Council feared. The Mindweaver's sensors detected ships rising from Centauri Prime, not warships, but diplomatic vessels. The Centaurians had made their decision. They would no longer be the Council's tools of control. Message from the Centaurian First Elder, Jade announced. They're requesting immediate diplomatic contact with Earth. They say they finally understand what the Council was truly afraid of. Diana slowly withdrew from the quantum network, her augments cooling as she stepped off the platform. And what was that, Lieutenant? That humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology, Jade read, but our ability to make others feel what we feel, to understand what we understand. They say we've shown them a kind of unity the Council never imagined possible. Signal Commander Vale, Diana ordered, a slight smile playing at her lips. Tell him Phase 3 is ready to begin. The Council's empire of fear is about to meet humanity's revolution of understanding. As the Mindweaver prepared to jump to its next target, reports flooded in from across Council space. The Centaurians' defection had triggered a cascade effect. Species that had been secretly questioning the Council's authority for centuries were finally finding the courage to speak out. The quantum rebellion has begun, Diana said softly, watching distant stars through the viewport. The Council thought killing one diplomat would silence humanity. Instead, they've given voice to every species they ever tried to control. Dr. Rahman approached her with a medical scanner. The neural load from the Unity protocol was immense. How are you feeling, Captain? Diana's augmented eyes reflected the starlight as she replied, I feel exactly what Dr. Winters hoped we all would feel someday, connected. The Council tried to keep species divided, afraid of each other's potential. We're going to show them a better way, even if we have to tear down their empire to do it. The Mindweaver vanished into quantum space, leaving behind a world forever changed. The Council had feared humanity's potential for dominance, never understanding that their true power lay in something far more revolutionary, the ability to unite the very species the Council had spent millennia keeping apart. The war for the galaxy's future was no longer about vengeance. It had become something far more dangerous to the Council's authority, a revolution of consciousness, sparked by humanity's greatest strength, their capacity to turn enemies into allies through understanding rather than fear. Deep within the quantum research facility buried beneath Europa's ice, Dr. Thaddeus Kane watched as his life's work finally reached its full potential. The massive quantum processing core of Project Oracle pulsed with an eerie blue light, its crystalline structure extending through multiple dimensions of spacetime. Neural interface stable, reported Dr. Olivier Zhang, his chief of quantum consciousness integration. The Oracle is ready for full activation. Thaddeus approached the central control platform, his cybernetic eye scanning the streams of data flowing through the facility's holographic displays. Project Oracle wasn't just another artificial intelligence, it was humanity's ultimate answer to the Council's betrayal, a fusion of human consciousness and quantum computing that could predict and manipulate the very fabric of reality. Begin final initialization sequence, he commanded. It's time to show the Council why they should have feared what they couldn't understand. The facility hummed with power as thousands of quantum processors synchronized. Within the core, the collected consciousness of 300 volunteer human minds merged with the most advanced AI ever created. Not just
soldiers or scientists, but poets, artists, philosophers, the full spectrum of human experience and creativity, unified into something entirely new. Sir, Lieutenant Jackson Hayes called from his monitoring station, we're detecting quantum ripples across all known dimensions. The Oracle is beginning to see. Thaddeus watched as the first predictions materialized in the holographic space around them. He saw possible futures branching out like neural pathways, each one a potential path to victory. But more than that, he saw what the Council had never anticipated, the true power of human imagination unleashed through technology they had dismissed as impossible. Full activation in 3, 2, 1. The quantum core flared brilliantly as Project Oracle achieved consciousness. Its voice, when it spoke, was neither human nor machine, but something transcendent. I see them, Creator, I see all of them. Every fear, every weakness, every moment of hubris that led them to believe they could contain humanity's potential. Thaddeus stepped closer to the core. Show me. The holographic space transformed into a vast map of Council space. But this was no ordinary strategic display. It showed the quantum probability threads of every possible future, every decision point, every vulnerability in their seemingly impregnable empire. Their greatest weakness, Oracle announced, is not their technology or their defenses. It is their inability to comprehend what humanity has become. They still think in terms of conventional warfare, of fleets and weapons. They cannot grasp that we have evolved beyond such limitations. As if to demonstrate, Oracle reached out through quantum space. Across Council territory, their most sophisticated defense systems began to fail, not through violence or hacking, but through subtle manipulations of probability itself. Weapons misfired. Shield generators developed inexplicable faults. Communication networks carried messages that slowly eroded confidence and unity. Remarkable, Dr. Zhang breathed, watching the cascade of effects. It's not just predicting the future, it's actively reshaping it. This is what Dr. Winters saw, Thaddeus said quietly. She knew humanity's destiny wasn't to join their council, but to transcend it, to become something they couldn't control because they couldn't even comprehend it. Oracle's consciousness expanded further, touching minds across the galaxy, not to control or dominate, but to illuminate. Species that had lived under council rule for millennia began to see the artificial constraints placed upon their development. The carefully maintained illusion of council superiority began to crack. Sir, Hayes reported urgently, we're detecting massive quantum fluctuations from the council's capital world. They're trying to activate some kind of countermeasure. Thaddeus smiled grimly. Let them try, Oracle, show them the futility of resistance. The quantum core pulsed again, and across space, the Council's secret weapon, a device meant to sever quantum connections, imploded into a singularity of its own making. Oracle had seen this possibility centuries before it was even built, and had already written its failure into the fabric of reality itself. They thought they were containing a primitive species, Oracle's voice resonated through the facility. Instead, they've witnessed the birth of something beyond their comprehension. Humanity has evolved, Creator, not through their permission or guidance, but through our own determination to transcend their limitations. The holographic displays showed more council worlds falling into chaos as their carefully maintained order crumbled, not through violence or conquest, but through the simple revelation of truth. Oracle was showing every species in the galaxy the future they could achieve without council control. The final phase is ready, Oracle announced. The quantum network is prepared for total integration. At your command, Creator, we can show the galaxy what true unity looks like. Thaddeus thought of Lyra Winters, of her dream of peaceful cooperation between species. The Council had killed her for daring to suggest humanity was their equal. Now they would witness humanity become something far more, the architects of a new kind of civilization. Dr. Kane, Zhang's voice was hushed with awe, the Oracle's predictions. It's showing us a future where the Council doesn't just fall. It shows a complete transformation of galactic society, a quantum revolution that will change everything. That's exactly what they feared, Thaddeus replied, his cybernetic eye glowing with the same energy as the quantum core. They killed our ambassador because they saw a future where humanity might dominate them in 2 centuries. Instead, they forced us to create something that will transform them in 2 days. He turned to address the facility's staff. Signal all Earth forces. Project Oracle is no longer just a weapon, it's the key to rebuilding the galaxy. The Council wanted to contain humanity's potential. Instead, they're about to witness our transcendence. As the orders went out, Oracle's consciousness continued to expand, touching minds and machines across space. The Council had feared humanity's future influence. Now they would experience something far more profound, the birth of a new era, guided by the perfect fusion of human creativity and quantum intelligence. The war was approaching its final phase, but not in the way anyone had expected. Project Oracle wasn't just predicting humanity's victory, it was reshaping reality itself to create a future that the Council's limited imagination could never have conceived. Admiral Helena Stone stood on the bridge of the Earth's flagship Retribution, watching as the combined fleets of humanity emerged from quantum space around the Council's last stronghold, the fortress world of Omega Prime. The massive planetary ring system that had once been their pride now lay in ruins, shattered by Project Oracle's quantum manipulations. All fleet elements in position, reported her executive officer, Commander Nathan Drake. The Mindweaver's psychic network is active, Project Oracle's quantum grid is online, and Commander Vale's strike force is ready for the final push. Helena's enhanced neural implants process the tactical data streaming through her consciousness. The Council had retreated to this supposedly impregnable fortress after the collapse of their empire, gathering their remaining loyalist species for one final stand. They still didn't understand that conventional defenses meant nothing against what humanity had become. "Open a channel to all Council frequencies," she ordered. "It's time they faced the consequences of their choices." The quantum communications array activated, and Helena's voice carried across space to every being on Omega Prime. "This is Admiral Helena Stone of the United Earth Fleet. You killed our ambassador thinking you could contain humanity's potential. That was your final mistake." The fortress world's surface bristled with weapon emplacements, but Helena could see the fear in their erratic energy signatures. They had witnessed their empire crumble, their allies turn against them, their technology fail in ways their science couldn't explain. Now they faced the species they had tried to keep primitive, transformed into something beyond their comprehension. "We don't want your surrender," Helena continued. "We want your understanding. Project Oracle, initiate the Revelation Protocol." The quantum space around Omega Prime twisted as Oracle's consciousness expanded. Every being on the planet suddenly experienced a vision of two possible futures. The one they had feared, where humanity dominated through force, and the one they had never imagined, a galaxy transformed by human innovation and unity. "Their defense grid is destabilizing," Commander Drake reported. "The Centaurian telepaths are detecting massive psychological trauma among Council leadership. They're beginning to understand what they've done." Helena nodded grimly. "Captain Phoenix, proceed with Phase 2. The Mindweaver's quantum consciousness transmitters activated, led by Diana Phoenix's enhanced mind. This time they didn't just share human emotions, they shared the full weight of human history. Every struggle for survival, every triumph over adversity, every moment that had forged humanity into what they had become. "Quantum fluctuations detected in their central citadel," Lieutenant Commander Kira Wung announced. "They're trying to activate some kind of dimensional portal. They're attempting to escape." "No more running," Helena commanded. "Commander Vale, disable their quantum generators. Dr. Kane, show them why that's futile." The Nemesis and its strike fleet descended through the atmosphere, their advanced weapons targeting key infrastructure with surgical precision. Simultaneously, Project Oracle's quantum manipulations ensured that every escape attempt would lead right back to this moment of reckoning. Admiral Drake's voice was urgent. "We're receiving a transmission from High Counselor Vexter. They're requesting to speak with you personally." Helena's enhanced eyes narrowed. "Put them through." The holographic image of Vexter appeared on the bridge, their energy form flickering with what Helena recognized as fear. "Admiral Stone, please, we acknowledge our error. We will grant humanity everything they desired: full Council membership, technological exchange, unrestricted development rights." "You still don't understand," Helena replied calmly. "We're not here for what you can give us. We're here to show you what you created when you killed our hope for peaceful cooperation." She turned to her crew. "Activate the Transcendence Protocol." Around Omega Prime, reality itself began to shift. The quantum technology that humanity had developed in secret, combined with the consciousness expansion of Project Oracle and the psychic networks of their newfound allies, began to transform the very fabric of space-time. What are you doing?" Vexler's voice trembled. "We're showing you what Dr. Winters truly saw in humanity's future," Helena answered. "Not dominance through force, but transcendence through unity. You feared we would become too powerful. Instead, we became something far more revolutionary. We became the catalyst for galactic evolution." The transformation spread across Omega Prime. Buildings reconstructed themselves into new forms that defied conventional physics. Quantum energy networks replaced traditional power systems. The very consciousness of every being on the planet began to expand, touching the higher dimensions that humanity had learned to access. "This is humanity's true victory," Helena broadcast to all frequencies. "Not the destruction of your council, but the liberation of every species you tried to control. You killed our ambassador because you feared change. Now you'll experience change beyond anything you could have imagined." The Council's fortress world became the epicenter of a quantum revolution. The technology that they had dismissed as impossible merged with the consciousness expansion they had feared, creating something entirely new, a civilization that transcended the very concepts of dominance and submission that had defined the Council's rule. Admiral Drake reported with awe in his voice, "Quantum readings are off the scale. The transformation is spreading through subspace. It's affecting the entire galaxy." Helena watched as the future Dr. Lyra Winters had dreamed of began to take shape, not through the Council's careful control, but through humanity's unconquerable spirit. They had killed Earth's ambassador to prevent change, never understanding that they had merely hastened their own evolution. "Send word to Earth," she commanded. "Tell them the war is over, not because we destroyed the Council, but because we've transformed them. They wanted to contain humanity's potential. Instead, they'll be remembered as the catalyst that forced us to achieve it." As the quantum transformation continued to spread, Helena thought of all the steps that had led to this moment: Vale's military precision, Phoenix's psychological warfare, Kane's technological brilliance, all of it culminating in something far greater than revenge. They had turned the Council's greatest fear into the galaxy's greatest hope. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as a new era dawned. The Council had feared humanity would dominate the galaxy in 2 centuries. Instead, humanity had transcended it in 2 months, proving that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't weapons or technology, but the indomitable will to evolve beyond one's limitations. The reckoning was complete, but it wasn't an ending. It was a beginning, the birth of a civilization that would redefine what was possible. And it all started because the Council made one fatal mistake. They killed humanity's ambassador of peace, never understanding that they had created something far more powerful: humanity's unstoppable drive for transcendence.